Hi, I'm Joe Quirk. Welcome to the Blue Frontiers podcast about all my favorite things: seasteading, the environment, special economic zones, and innovation in science, technology, governance, and society itself. Today we have Yuri Lobynstev, CTO and co-founder of Cindicator, with a $1 billion market cap. And he has over 100,000 financial analysts around the world. And he taught me an awesome yoga move.
It's a chair, and you take your tie and you put your thing like this, and then, see, Yuri makes it look a little more elegant.
Now, here's your host, the seavangelesse, Natalie Meza Garcia.
Hello, seasteaders. I am here with Yuri Lobynstev. You already did a very great introduction of him. Yuri and I met in Tahiti last year, and I don't remember exactly when we met, Yuri, but I do remember that last time I saw you, your arms were wounded because you had fallen from a motorcycle. How are your arms and your legs now?
Yeah, I'm totally renewed.
It was so funny because one day you just arrived in the morning with the motorcycle here on your hand, and you were all bleeding and full with these things covering your arms. So I'm really glad you're doing okay. So Yuri, you are one of our advisors, and I want to ask you everything about seasteading, of course, but also for those who are listening to us from the seasteading side and who don't know Cindicator, why don't we start with Cindicator first? So what is Cindicator?
Okay, sure. So Cindicator is the technological and social platform or ecosystem that is built upon our team, and we are making it like an ultimate decision-making machine in circumstances of growing uncertainty. So we are focused on area of decisions in financial markets.
Okay.
Those are all of them about investment decision.
So what?
So that's the ecosystem where we find collective of human and our intelligence. Call it intelligence technology. And this is very, very interesting technology that combines social psychology, technology, intelligence, all those high-tech mechanics they are predicting the behavior of the market, and based on the whole vision that this ecosystem produces. Many traders, investors, hedge funds, and banks are using indicators that are produced by this ecosystem, and they use these indicators to add to their investment strategies to increase their profits.
Yes, I saw that Cindicator was used on the Moscow Stock Exchange. It was a micro experiment, and they used the hybrid intelligence that Cindicator uses, and the result was that if they were to use it for a whole year, the whole portfolio would increase by 48%.
Yes, exactly. It was 1 year and a half ago. Wow. That was one of our public experiment. I can say that at that period of time, our technology was very young, and we were not so matured like now.
Yes.
Now everything is much more interesting. What we see, what is happening in our ecosystem is really exciting.
Yes, you recently hit the milestone of having 100,000 financial analysts spread across the whole world.
Yes, they are from 160 countries.
Wow.
All these people are involved into work of this hybrid intelligence.
Wow. So hybrid intelligence combines machine intelligence with human intelligence. Can you explain a bit of what hybrid intelligence is?
Yes, sure. So what we have, this hundred of thousands of financial analysts. They are analyzing the market every day, and through our applications, there are different mobile applications and web applications. They bring their vision. Yes, this is it's loading. They bring us their vision, so that there are questions in the app, and they answer these questions on a daily basis. And we have algorithms that learn the statistics of their accuracy, of the accuracy of each of these financial analysts. And we have a pipeline of machine learning algorithms that learn based on these statistics and dynamically change the weights of trust to each of these analysts, depending on his accuracy on this or that type of question. And also it looks for the patterns in their mistakes. So many people tend to have mistakes so their expectations of reality are used to have patterns in the mistakes, and there are some patterns that could be recognized statistically. So the algorithms are knowing what type of mistakes these people will have, and make corrections to their answer.
Wow. And do the financial analysts know? Do they get to know what are the recurrent mistakes? Or this is all happening behind the scenes after they do the prediction to one of the answers on the Cindicator app?
No. They definitely know. They are kind of, their intelligence is part of the technology. So the people are part of technology, and they are learning. So we are working on increasing their skills. So they get feedback, they get statistics, they get the real answers, and they get points, depending on the accuracy. So it's kind of a game for them. Also, it's educational game where they get points, statistics. They can look how they proceed, how they grew, and of course we have made a research on how the accuracy of analysts behaves itself, and more than 70% they learn, and they all become more and more accurate using our application.
Wow.
So this is the hybrid intelligence. So the hybrid intelligence consists of 3 layers of learning. So that's why it's called deep learning. Yes. The bottom layer is people. So they are the source of the vision of the market, and they learn using this application that you have shown. The second layer is about 20 with something linear statistical models, machine learning models that are learned based on these people. So it learns how accurate these people are. And on the top of that, there is a neural network that learns based on these linear models, and it looks for non-linear correlations between statistical models, so how to use them in the whole vision. And all this is hybrid intelligence.
Yes, I was really happy when I saw that you're using neural networks. So what are the future, I know that you are working on future plans for a global strategy for Cindicator, where you aim to take this intelligence outside of the Cindicator ecosystem and connect and make the ultimate, what you've called the ultimate decision-making system, one system that would make decisions in benefit of the whole ecosystem. Are we talking about something like the global brain, or what are your plans with global strategy?
Yes, we're talking about global brain.
I love it. Can you please explain a bit more about what are you thinking in those lines?
We're in research of collective intelligence and hybrid intelligence. Now we can see that it is in Cindicator, it is maturing very faster and faster every day. and it becomes more and more accurate. Also, we see that the indicators that we produce are useful and valuable for many people. And I can say that we didn't start campaign for the past years. We were preparing for the push. We will push eventually. So we are just preparing. So soon we will grow very fast, and we are aiming to run a number of experiments this year and mostly next year on the matter of looking for consensus between people and making decisions collaboratively, not just decisions on investment strategies, but also decisions that are making impact on the life of the ecosystem. First of all, on the ecosystem of Cindicator. So those will be experiments on the questions where decisions are making impact only on the internal life of the ecosystem. But the experiments that we're gonna run, different types of voting, different types of collaborating and discussions between making the decision and opinions, they will be small and they will be structurized. So those will be lots of experiments, and there will be lots of hypotheses and lots of results in terms of research of this type of activity. So these will be the results of internal life and we will know how humans behave in different types of decision-making models, how they react on different types of decisions that are based upon this or that type of consensus. And these are very valuable things that we are happy and excited to share in future with Blue Frontiers. So that's kind of a way for the knowledge to go from virtual world, from the kind of virtual government and virtual ecosystem of Cindicator to the real physical space with the real physical communities that will have to make decisions that will also make impact on their ecosystem, but the physical ecosystem. And what voting for, which types of questions and decisions should be made. This will also be experiments, but they will be based not upon the pure fantasy of theoreticians, but also on the practice of Cindicator, and on the experience that we will have during the next couple of years.
I love that. I would love to see your data, because at the beginning of my PhD, I was looking into distributed decision-making systems where in a decentralized manner you reached consensus. It was political consensus, but it was only online. It was virtual. And then I realized that the physical space, the physical platform, the geography or wherever humans were located was important, because the relation, it's different if you're just speaking about software than if you're actually speaking about a physical reality with people's lives, etc. So that's how I changed to seasteading, because it had that virtual component, that distributed, decentralized decision-making topology, but at the same time, it had the physical platform. So I would love to see how this progresses in the next years. How do you see hybrid intelligence being implemented in decision-making on seasteads, where the notion of consensus not always it's important, because exiting is at the core of seasteading. If you don't like it, you leave with your floating house. So how are the hierarchical networks there, where don't need to have necessarily decision-making systems that are or a consensus or a decision that is spread across the whole ecosystem, but where you can have nested clusters of things going on each space? How do you see hybrid intelligence in such a decentralized system permeated by the possibility to exit?
There is always possibility to exit actually in all the systems, and in hybrid intelligence also. At any moment, you can either be in the virtual ecosystem or exit. So in these terms, there is no difference at all. So the integration is pretty straightforward. Those are the tools that could be used for making votes and different chats. Either they are run in physical space or they run by virtual reality. So there is no big difference in this dimension. So that's just the structure of knowledge and experiments. So that there is tons of ways to make decisions in collective. There are tons of voting and delegating votes, splitting into groups, making choices between groups, many millions of them. And there is some risk and threat in playing with these things in physical reality.
Yes.
Because some choices, they have no way back. And after you make the choice, you have to deal with the consequences.
Exactly.
And some of them will bring more responsibility and more risks. So they should be taken more carefully and more with deeper understanding of why we choose this way to vote, or why we choose that. Split the voices between all the participants, or we should distribute different weights of trust to different people depending on the value that they had brought to the ecosystem. Integration of hybrid intelligence with seasteads on this matter, where we share the knowledge of our experiments.
I love it. Before what you've just said, I used to see that hybrid intelligence did to predictive markets what seasteading did to governance. But I really like how you are bringing them together. And I will definitely follow this conversation to see how it evolves. So Yuri, before your token sale, we are very close, as you know, to doing our token sale in the next months, the Varyon. So if you're listening to us and you haven't visited our website to get whitelisted, go to varyon.io. It's varyon.io, or visit blue-frontiers.com. And Yuri, you stopped your marketing campaign 1 month before the token sale because you saw there wasn't any need for it.
Yep.
How was this?
We had a huge interest to Cindicator. When we started our whitelisting process, we quite fastly gathered 34,500 of applications from all the globe, with the total desired amount of money that they wanted to invest with about $500 million.
Yeah.
It was much higher numbers than we needed at all.
You had $15 million. Your hard cap was 15 million.
Yes, exactly. So we realized that there is more problem and not gathering more attention and more interest, but the problem was to filter this one and to get quality from this quantity, and we started working on that. It was really hard work to read all those essays. We also asked investors to write essays on how they feel about Cindicator and how they're gonna contribute to the ecosystem and how they are aligned, what are their social profiles, and we analyzed their social profiles, their background, their ethics, and their reputations, and the most important thing was how emotional and how constructive their essay was. So we looked only for those who are very aligned with the idea of what we're doing and who can really contribute some real value. And we also split it, these people into 4 tiers, so that not the first one will get the tokens, but we tried to make this distribution as decentralized as we could to give them even spots. So we did not allow any whales to get in. Yeah. There were no big checks at all. There were no discounts. It was like that. And there was no need to marketing at all.
Wow. That was one of the things I wanted to ask you, because this process that you've just mentioned, where you selected who the $15 million you needed was going to come from this pool of $500 million. So I want to focus on the word intention, because I've heard you in Tahiti, you mentioned that word a lot and you explained what it meant for you. And I know that the reason why you asked these people who wanted to buy into a Cindicator's token sale to write a letter was to know their intention. And so I know that you've been for many years interested in the human mind and the human brain, and you were once actually living in a church working on a project to connect the whole humanity. So can you walk us through your trajectory in being interested in the human mind, the human brain, connectivity, and especially what intention means for you?
Yes, sure. Starting with intention, I think this is the crucial part of all the magic, and everything beautiful that happens in life is kind of magic. And when we create something or change something, so the power that changes the reality is intention.
Yes,
it's the only thing. First of all, we create fantasies or dreams, and then if we want to bring them to reality, there must be an intention, and this is the magic that makes dreams reality.
Wow.
I think that this is very straightforward thing. If you have an intention, you will do that. If you don't have, nothing will change. And that's why what could be more important than your intentions? And what is more, I cannot, maybe dreams, because when after you have some dreams, there is a possibility that you will have an intention to make them real. So probably this is more real. But in terms of practice, in terms of business and building relationships that are intended to be practical, they have to bring results. When we're talking about creation, the technology, and real work, there must be practical result here and now, not in many millions of years. So we want to see results right now. We want to see results tomorrow, a day after tomorrow, each week, each month. So I'm an entrepreneur, and I'm practical and pragmatic. At the same time, I'm very interested in the nature of humanity, of mind, of consciousness, unconsciousness, about dreams, about all the stuff. I kind of started talking about trajectory of my growth. I can say that I started my relationships with computers when I was about 10, or even a bit earlier. And at about 10, I started coding. So we had special mathematicians programs at school, and there were special teachers that learned us to solve complex problems using unusual approaches, and using the computing power of computers. So that was starting 10, and I really enjoyed I enjoyed solving complex problems. So that's how I spent all my evenings after school. So there
But
were special teachers that learned us brainstorming. So they had kind of me, and I was studying in mathematician school, in special mathematician class, where pretty everybody was strong in logic and mathematics and informatics and physics, all these life sciences. And me and two other guys who were the most special in the most strong, I can say, in this area of questions, we were chosen to be educated also by special teachers. It was kind of experimental education, and each evening we had sessions of brainstorming. So they learned us to brainstorm to solve complex problems. So they learned us to rely on the mind of each others and never rely on your own mind. So to only rely on collective brainstorming. Like we split the problem into sub problems, and like this teamwork. So we had time limit for the where we should give the result, the answer, how it works. So that's what we did, and we also had to program it. So we also, after brainstorming session, we had to program it very fast. So I was deep into that, and I can say somewhere around 13 years or 14 years, I found out that there is a part of life called dreams. There was a girl that I was in love, and she told me, there are dreams at night, and you can see them. You live a third part of your life dreaming.
yes.
And what do you do at that time? And that you can live there. You cannot just skip one third of your life, but you can live there, and you can use that time for the education, for the growth, and for the pleasure also. And she advised me some books. So that was the first step into the world of dreams. And then into the world of mind, of psychology, and all the other practices that I was diving into for the last 18 years, I think, or kind of maybe 17 years. So I started lucid dreams. It's when you are dreaming and realizing what is happening in the dream. After that, I went to philosophical school and to school of tea mastery, making ceremonies with tea. Then I started yoga, qigong, and then many different practices, working with mind, hypnosis, psychoanalysis, different neuro-linguistic programming, different training sessions, coaches, psychotherapy. Then I organized neuro laboratory called Neuro Laboratory Octobrain, where I, with my partner, we created a community with neurophysiologists, data scientists, software developers, and we researched the technology of brain-computer interfaces that read the brain activity exactly from the head. We ran a number of experiments, and on the parallel of that life, working with the research of the mind and with different meditation practices, I was always growing like a engineer, like a software developer. Firstly, like an employee. I had a career working as like a software engineer in different areas, writing different types of software and algorithms. Then I started entrepreneurship path, like in 2004 or no 2010 year. So I started my own studio
Yes.
where I was selling the services of design and development for the startups. And we did mobile applications, mostly mobile applications. So the team was growing, and the team of engineers was growing, and there was kind of two parts where I was growing like an engineer, like entrepreneur, like an investor. Then I started making investments, so working with this money and technology and all this pragmatical rational stuff. And on the other hand, there was a way where I was kind of personal pass,
Yes.
looking of main questions of life: who am I and what I'm doing here, and what is happening, what is going on around, around. And then it started like merging, like when I was investing more and more, I realized that one of the main area of questions and the most interesting area of questions is about the united mind and the kind of collective unconscious, collective conscious, the phenomenon of understanding of each other, phenomenon of closeness and contact, where we can unite our powers and become something bigger, some more higher and meta intelligence, and that is more effective, and it's more ethical, more it's better in all the terms. And I think that this is the natural evolutionary way for humanity, that like if we look at all the history of all the life forms, the all the evolution comes through the integrity and unity.
Even
Like
bacteria.
yeah. So when we see the organism, it is the result of integrity. And we can see that human civilization and all the history of building the cities, the countries with their borders, is also the process of integrity, and also a process of merging all the intelligence. And I feel that the moment in history of humanity is bringing us all into some kind of global brain of the earth, where not only people but also computers, also algorithms, also nature, also animals, ocean, and everything what is living here on the earth is a part of something really beautiful and big. And we are here to unite it, and we are here to make this evolutionary step to create a higher form of life that will expand to space eventually. So that's how I see it.
If you take the measurements of energy consumption of civilization in the Kardashev scale, so we are right now a type 0 civilization because we are not using the whole energy of the planet. And this has in part to do with the fact that we are scattered around and just very precarious when it comes to harnessing the resources of Earth. But what you're speaking about is a transition that will probably happen when we start harnessing the whole energy of the planet and we move in the Kardashev scale to a type 1 civilization. Maybe by then, with all the non-human people like other species and also AI, we are going to be more integrated and generating this type of collective intelligence you speak about. You know, Yuri, it doesn't surprise me at all with the beautiful story that you've just told us. Why Cindicator has been referred to as the token right now with the most utility out there, because you are not only thinking about an app, you're not only thinking about a platform, you're actually thinking about something that you can extrapolate to the real physical world. And I think that's great. I admire you for that. It also makes me think, it's awesome, honestly. Every time you talk about dreams or intention, I feel, wow, this just makes sense. And I remember the first time you're speaking about that was at the Blue Frontiers workshops in Tahiti, where you started telling us briefly about this story that you had with how you got interested in psychology and in neurology. So I'm glad everybody can listen to it right now. The utility of Cindicator reminds me also of what Blue Frontiers is planning to do with the Varyon, because it is also going to be a token that will allow you to use systems, services of the Blue Frontiers and seasteading ecosystem, and it's not only just there something on the blockchain that you cannot touch, let's say it like that. So what attracted you about seasteading?
I remember that the previous spring and summer, I was thinking a lot about, and I've seen lots of tendencies in the world with the new experimental governance systems. And I've seen that lots of kind of virtual governance and special economic zones emerge on the years. And I've seen that lots of them are kind of growing like mushrooms everywhere, like small. I felt like science, like not like they're getting matured, but I felt that this is the tendency that
it is.
And I thought, who is here on this earth is the leader in this area? And I remember that I heard about the project, that there is some kind of project. I knew Igor before, and so we were connected by our shared friend like 3 or 4 years ago. Okay. And I've seen that there was some guy in my Facebook feed that was posting something about this life on the water, and I decided to find him, and I found Igor, and Igor, that's you. And what's going on, and what's happening, and tell me more. So we had a call, and he told me that what's going about that status. And I was also thinking about the vacation. I didn't have vacation for, I think, 5 years or something like that. And I realized that my health, my physical body, they do need rest. And after the token sale, I had that opportunity to take a couple of weeks of vacation. And actually, I've taken only one, but it was great. And I decided, and also Igor said that there is Insiders Week and that I am welcome there. And I decided that I should combine that opportunity to help you to come and help with my experience, and at the same time have some rest on nature.
Oh, yeah.
So I decided to come and to look deeper into Blue Frontiers, to look at people who is working there, and to think about not only nature and beauty, but also about business. And I thought that that's a good project with good people, with good intention, that is aligned with my intention. And I can see, and I can say that I had a really good feeling about all the people I've met, and they are not flying in dreams, not only flying in dreams, but also stand on the ground and also measure reality, and make pragmatic and practical steps, growing the business. And I thought that we should be together, and we had the long pass in future on this spaceship Earth.
Yes.
So let's unite, and that's it.
Wow. Wow. Can you tell us a bit about what was the Insiders Week like? What did you do? What is the Insiders Access Week that Blue Frontiers organized and that is planning to organize in the future? Similar ones?
No, yeah, that was a week of everyday activity. We were scuba diving, flying. I remember I was swimming with sharks.
Yes.
But I really enjoyed that experience with Ariol Center. Ariol, or how was it called, with that red feather.
Yeah, Arioi Cultural Center.
Yes, with those dances and preparing food on the ground. It
Yes.
was really special. For me, it was all about the nature and about the connection with the nature. So how that island Tahiti appeared on the earth in the very middle of Pacific, like how the mana extracted itself from the bottom of the ocean, and that place appeared. That's beautiful. I think that's the beauty of life and nature. That all the week was about this activity, and also I remember I could not get out of the thinking of about Cindicator. So I was also already I could not disconnect. I remember that, like, every day I was touching the pulse, what is going on, and should I dive into some questions. But it was really good experience, also for the team, and for me to separate physically and work remotely, because I did not separate from team for many months.
Wow.
We were like day and night together, and this separation was really good, that somebody could take new responsibility, and that was before our fast expansion. So that at that moment we had a team about 17 or 18 people, and now we have more than 50 full-time and 50 more the contractors. Now we're managing about 100 of people, and those people who were kind of in the core of Cindicator, they grew up and took taking new responsibility, and that was necessary for the growth of our collective of distribution, the decision making center.
Wow. So right now you are advising Blue Frontiers in aspects related to our token, the Varyon. I know that you participated in discussions about the token sales strategy. We have a few minutes left, so let's just go briefly through those aspects in which you have advised Blue Frontiers. So how did you advise Blue Frontiers in relation to the token sales strategy?
Yeah, so I can say that what you are doing with whitelisting process, this approach was brought to the market by Cindicator, and this that's now being used by many companies, like many companies who is making the token sale, and this token sale strategy is really good in many dimensions and many characteristics, that gives lots of opportunities and gives a way to make it more fair, transparent, understandable, predictable, distributed, and even for the investors, and effective for the issuance for the companies that issues tokens. So that was one of main thing that I brought here. Also, we had I remember we did a master plan in October with Randy, and based on and based on that plan, your all the strategy, not only the tokens, not only fundraising strategy, but also the marketing and all the gathering of team, all these processes. I participated there on a high level, not on the depths level, but on high level. I brought people. I brought Bokia, smart contract developer and auditor. One of the best auditor of smart contracts on this earth is working with us.
You also
And I don't remember. There were many calls and many small questions that I was that I participated, but I even don't remember them now.
the fundraising strategy, is that the Gantt chart? Like the whole
No. That Gantt chart with all the processes like legal, marketing, web development,
Yeah, I remember.
PR, whitelisting, marketing, all this.
Yeah, I remember I was working here in the external part of the house in Tahiti, and you and Randy spent many hours back there on the dining room or in the living room working, and then you came up with this really very detailed process plan. So Yuri, why do you think that we are right now in a moment of history where really cool things like hybrid intelligence for predictive markets or decentralizing and increasing the variety of governance with seasteading are also possible and also can be sustained with these crowdfunding mechanisms that are slowly less effective but still very possible? What makes
Sorry, I didn't understand the question. I didn't understand the question. So where are we now in this?
Yeah, why is it that now, today, humanity is experiencing such a rich period in terms of things you can do? What is so special about right now, according to you?
That's the period of transformation. Like lots of things came to a moment where they cannot work anymore in the way they did previous years, and humanity from all the different dimensions, we as a whole, we are facing global challenges like global warming. We have technological threats, we have geopolitical threats, biological, and from all the dimensions of our work and life, we are facing the challenges.
Yes.
And this creates kind of internal pressure for the collective mind, and more and more people do realize that this will not work anymore like that. Yes. And there must be changes, and many people do drive changes. Many people wake up, and this creates lots of movements and transformations, and all the technologies, they are evolving to the next step. And what we can see in the crypto space and this decentralized ledger technology, this is the revolution of monetary system and the system how we interact and exchange values with each other. This is one of the main, not the only one, but one of the main reasons why we see this fruitful world of opportunities. That we see the growth and emergence of new economy with the new rules, with new ideology, with new participants, with new values and new technologies. And the ecosystem of this new economy is not there yet. It's a long way for this ecosystem to mature, and this is the way to for any person to bring his talents and creativity and knowledge and experience to realize and create something, because it is necessary for the world, and there is a place where to put it. And this is the wave of opportunities. So this is one of them, and this is technological. And another one is psychological, that more and more changes everywhere. They are they matured enough, and we have enough power, enough knowledge and energy to drive it. So that's where it combined, and here we are. Here is the moment of transformation.
And speaking about energy and knowledge and power, I want to close with the following question. So after the token sale of Cindicator, you grew your team by 250 times. And I know that this must have taken a lot of your energy, a lot of your own Yuri's computational power. So what advices do you have, especially for CEOs of companies who are close to doing their ICO or that are super stressed with all these things they have to manage? So what advices do you have for them in terms of managing their expectations and mentality?
Yeah, so first of all, I think enjoy working with uncertainty, and enjoy this way of living, and get used to that, because actually this is not only about the token sale, it's about the life that we're gonna face in the future. The uncertainty will grow, and this is one of the main skill, working with uncertainty. Another thing is mostly about health. I can say that we need our brains healthy, and we need our bodies be ready to face these challenges.
Yeah.
And the multitasking that is necessary in managing so many processes is the way that could be managed not only by consciousness power, computational power, but also by unconsciousness. And many processes could be managed by your brain, by the neural network of the brain, if you use them accordingly. And the skills of working with your own mind and using trance and altered states of mind, like meditations and floating, that's how that's called, deprivational
chambers,
buses. And this is very useful for taking rest, for extracting the knowledge that you and bringing the new skills that you got and educated yourself, and making even decisions could be managed by that part of your brain. And this is important to get used to that, and because this is the very powerful tool that we all have.
That is so true.
I can say that many complex decisions that were in token sale and after, I rely on my brain there, and I rely on it like a very useful instrument that I'm caring of. I meditate every day, and this is helping a lot.
Well,
and this is about health. It's about mental health.
Yes. After all, the underlying technology behind what you do is a silicon or software-based replication of the own collective intelligence that we have in our own neural networks. That's where it came from, no? All the models of neural networks take as a basis assumptions or knowledge about information processing in your own brain. So yep. I love it. You are so coherent, Yuri. Your brain is coherent, your project is coherent, and how your future global strategy also, they all say, I see them as, I don't know, isomorphic, and then, I love it. Well, Yuri, I will let you go now.
Yes, thank you, Natalie.
And
great to see you too.
Your hands are okay.
Yes. I'm glad my hands are okay.
Yeah. Poor you. I felt really bad about you when I saw you, because so Hisa, one of the co-founders' wife, Nick's wife, she was curing you and you were just there like, ouch. But you're not complaining or anything. you took it in a really chill way. Like, this is an experience. Actually, I think that's what you said. It's an experience or something like that. I don't remember. Well, thank you very much, Yuri.
Thank you too. Have a good day.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for joining us on the Blue Frontiers podcast. To learn more about our work and find out how you can support the project, visit blue-frontiers.com or visit our social channels. You can like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter at Blue Frontiers, or shoot us a note via our website. If you learned something and enjoyed the show, tell a friend or leave us a positive review on iTunes or wherever you're listening. Don't forget to subscribe to our show and remember to join us for the next episode. See you next time.